So today I went to donate blood. A local activist, Sean Jones, who you've seen on this channel, as well as Anarcast recently, hooked up with, I think it's like Carter blood donations or something like that. And they did a blood drive, blood donation thing today outside of a restaurant. So I went over and showed up to support them and to donate blood. And after it was done, they're wrapping me up and making sure that I'm okay and not dizzy. And just nonchalantly, they're like, "Oh yeah, so here's a card with your donation number on it, and you know, in a day or two, you can go on our website and type in your donation number and find out your antibody results." And I was like, "Antibody results? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, for, you know, COVID-19, they're gonna test your blood and you can get your test results in a couple days." I'm like, I thought I was donating blood here today. I did not intend, nor did I consent to getting a test for that. So don't do that. And they're like, "Oh, well, you have to, you know, if you don't consent, you need to call this number and tell them about it or whatever." And so I did, and I should have recorded the call. It's absurd shit, man. So I call the number and I'm like, "Hey, I just donated blood because I know that you guys are really hurting for blood donors right now because a lot of people are staying inside and not getting out as much, and you know, it's a serious health risk to people that need blood to not have donations right now." And so I was not told beforehand. You did not get any kind of prior or informed consent to any sort of COVID testing. So don't do that with my blood. And the lady had no idea what to say. And she had clearly never heard those words in that order before. So she hung up and she went and found, I guess, the head doctor in charge and got them to call me. The head doctor of the donations or whatever gives me a call. And they're like, "Well, we can't not test your blood for COVID." And when somebody tells me something as absurd as "we can't not do something," it's usually one of those stupid policy things. Like, well, we have a process in place, and this is probably this could be what it is, giving them the benefit of the doubt. This could be what it is, right? They could just have a process in place for what they do with all the blood. And they didn't have a really easy mechanism for making sure that my blood specifically did not go through the process. And part of their standard operating procedure right now is to run the COVID test on all blood donations. And I'm like, "Well, okay, just, you know, just skip that part." And like, "Well, we can't. So we're going to discard your donation." I'm like, "What?" Like that is the worst possible outcome. Can you not do that? Because I want to help somebody. That's why I went. That's why, you know, I drove all that way and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, "Well, what's the problem?" Like they said, "How about this? We'll do it and we won't tell you the results." Does that make it better? I'm like, I don't care if I know the results. Like, why would I mind knowing the results? That is absurd. And they're like, "Well, yeah, but you know, what we do is we actually want to find people that have the COVID-19 antibodies in their blood because they need, apparently, there's something to do with if people that have COVID and they're really not in good shape, they can give them a transfusion from somebody that already has the COVID antibodies in their blood, and apparently that helps them. So that's really cool. This is awesome developing medical science, which is kind of exciting." I'm like, "Well, I don't think I've had it. I have no idea. My thing is privacy." I'm like, "Okay, can you take my donation privately? Can you just sort of unlink my name from the blood? That way you guys can still help people either way. And it's just a private thing. You know, I don't have to be associated with this anymore. I still want to help. I've already gone through the trouble. I've got a hole in my arm. I'm a little lightheaded already. It's dumb to throw out something that is vital and that could save somebody's life. So let's try and not do that. Can you just make it private?" "No, sorry, we can't." Because there's apparently some other regulation or something that they have to follow. like if they detect that I have HIV or HEP or, some terrible thing in my blood, they are required to contact me to let me know. So it cannot be an anonymous donation. And so I'm like, okay, but the world is fucking insane right now. Like it isn't, I didn't tell them this. I'm frustrated. It's just a clown show everywhere right now. So I was like, okay, well, can you, I guess the best thing that I could get out of them was that they promised not to share my data with anyone outside their company, which is a totally empty promise. And if a government agency comes along, it's not like, and requests the data, it's not like they're going to be diligent to filter against people that didn't consent to it. There's probably not even a checkbox for any of that anywhere. And so it was probably a totally illegitimate, incompetent promise for her to make to me. And I probably should have disregarded it, especially in hindsight thinking about it. If somebody comes along looking for that data, they're absolutely going to share it as long as they're from somebody seen as an authority. So the result was that I chose, and this was a personal decision, I chose to risk the repercussions of having my blood tested because I know firsthand with my daughter how vital it is to help people in need of blood donations. And like I opened the show by telling you guys just how important it is. Like you literally save people's lives when you do this. And now I'm telling you a reason that will probably cause a lot of you to not go anywhere near a blood donation bank. I'm just letting you know that my personal decision, my personal value judgment was to take the risk of being on some contact tracers list. Would I have done it if I had known beforehand? I doubt it. I don't know. I want you guys to make the decision for yourself. And it's a really shitty decision to have to make. So, I wanted to tell you that story. Let me catch up on comments here. For those of you that don't know, we're kind of starting a new format to be officially launched soon, but is already kind of soft launched. The live streams that you're watching right now are going to only be available right now during the live stream. As soon as it's over, that gets privated, and only our channel supporters can see the full live streams. And then we sort of we release the important bits to the public. So if you want to support our channel and get access to our full back catalog and future catalog of the entire live streams, you can do that at disenthrall.me/support. Check it out. New website in progress. It's awesome.